Get a job in tech. Thanks, everybody, who listen to this podcast. Really appreciate it. So I'll get down to it. I want to talk about really strategies, really, honestly, truth be told. It's just strategies of individuals who, yeah, gosh, you're working at Walmart, man. You're working at Kmart. You're working at um, McDonald's. Eventually it's going to come to a time when you're going to stop believing people who keep you down, who just say you can't do something, right? Man, there's nothing like it when somebody says you can't do something. It just gives you so much motivation, right? So maybe that's what it is. For those of you out there who want to get a job in IT, who work at McDonald's, or Walmart or wherever, and maybe you make $9 or $10 an hour, maybe $15 an hour. You're working at Amazon, let's say, right? $15 an hour Amazon pays. That's your full-time gig. And you just need that little motivation. So here's how you get it. To maybe psych yourself a little bit. Psych yourself up a little bit. Have a new idea. Talk about IT or technical, getting a job as a help desk person or something like that. And then what you do is you talk to your friends who work in the same field you do. Most likely, the people you're around work in the same field you are. Or, they make the same salary, or maybe $5 more an hour, let's say, right? So you talk to somebody, you make $15 an hour, and you talk to somebody your friend who makes $5 more an hour than you, say $20 an hour. And you talk about IT. And then you talk about, in a year's time, I can make 60 grand a year, right? And look at their reaction. Watch their facial pattern. And, and what you do is you keep talking about it, maybe every day. And then what happens is they see you do that type of stuff, and maybe they put discouragement in you. Maybe what you're looking for is you're looking to provoke some discouragement from somebody else, basically, right? Sometimes that's the only way to get yourself motivated to get into IT or change a job, basically, right? Is start talking about what you're going to do, and then, or maybe just ask somebody, hey, how do you do this? You know anything about that? And then wait for them to discourage you, right? Because people love their negative Nancy's. A lot of people are, right? So just wait for them to tell you can't do it, or some variance of it, like it's hard or something like that. And maybe if you want to even do it one further, what you do is you talk about getting a job in IT at 60 grand a year, right? Let's just say, right? And then the next week, or maybe a couple days later, right? What you say is, boy, that's really tough. Getting a job in IT is really tough. I don't know if I could do it, I'm just, maybe I just find sticking with this job here, right? And, it's got benefits or whatever, right? And look at their reaction. They're going to be happy, by the way, because you're not leaving. And look, that's just how people are, right? That's just our brain. I think that's just most people's brain, is to default to the negative, right? You probably know that. You probably don't need to tell me, for me to tell you that. And to strive for better, oh boy, I'll tell you, that is, if you can solve that motivation problem, or that little thing like that's going on in your brain, you probably want to notice this, right? So when you get around people who are very wealthy, right, they have a tendency not to talk to you, not to share with you. The reason they're not doing that, and here's the secret, by the way, just so you know, news bulletin, alert, news alert, whatever you want to call it. When you get around rich people or wealthy people, the reason they don't tell you what they're doing, two things. Really, the most important one, here's the reason why. They know you haven't done anything. They know you're not trying. They know you're looking for the easy fix. And when you talk to These people that are very wealthy or just wealthy in general, maybe let's say wealthy, 200,000 a year, let's say. Wealthy is 200,000 a year. Let's just say. Let's not get some crazy number like a millionaire, right? Or whatever. Let's say 200,000 a year. Just done. Leave it there. That's 200 grand a year is nothing to sneeze at. Even they get it, they have a job. 200 grand a year is awesome. Let's call that rich. Let's call that wealthy, right? So you get around these people who make 200,000 a year, and they're not going to talk in depth with you about what they're doing or how to do it. The reason they don't talk to you or they don't tell you about it, it's not because they're snobby or snooty. Some of them, yeah, maybe, but a lot of them, the reason they don't talk to you about it, because they know you'll give up. They know you'll give up in a week's time. They know you're not going to stick to it. You got to figure they have probably built they've done a lot of stuff to get to where they're at. A lot of stuff, a lot of after hours. So if you're making $9 or $15 an hour right now and you work a 40-hour week and you can barely handle that job, imagine talking to somebody who's 200,000 a year who probably works 60 hours a week, but they work 40 hours a week on their job and the 20 hours a week on themselves. And really that's the key right there. That's it. You can talk to these gurus and all that stuff. You can go to these Tony Robbins and all this other stuff. And that's really what it boils down to, really, is in the last podcast, I know I talked about 168 hours or whatever a week. Well, that's the same thing. So what are you doing with your 168 hours? That's really it right there. And you're talking to somebody who does that myself. I'm by no means wealthy yet, but I try to put the hours in, yeah, of course, family time and all that stuff and friends and relatives and, whatever, right? But that time you put in, or the time I put in, should say, right? That those extra hours, those extra 10 hours a week, just learning something, right? Just figuring something out, right? Just to get to the aha moment. And if I would just use somebody as a crutch and say, just tell me everything so I can make it quick and everything like that and not learn anything. And then I just want free money because it's hard. Of course it's hard, man. Of course it's hard. Who doesn't know it's hard? Everybody knows it's hard. You're not telling me about anything that they don't know. Yeah. So to wrap up, just a key point, right? If you want to change really your job, just find somebody, let's say IT, right? Because as we're talking about IT, find somebody, tell them about your getting a job in IT. And then maybe, look at their reaction, look at their negative reaction. Use that as your motivation, friend. That's your motivation. You want somebody to tell you can't. That's really it. That's what I'm talking about. This whole point here, right? Get to the point where somebody says you can't. Oh, there's nothing like that feeling. There's nothing like when somebody says you can't do something. Let me tell you right now. And you're trying something, you make $9 an hour, they make $20 an hour, okay? And you're trying something better and they say you can't do something. How many times have I been told that myself? Who hasn't been told that? Let's say, be honest with you. And then when you bypass them, wage-wise and knowledge-wise, what a feeling that is, man! What a feeling that is. It's like that. It's that rush, by the way, right? When people tell you can't do something, there's the instant rush that goes in your brain, and in your internally, you're thinking, okay, I'll show you. I'll show you, yeah. And that's the motivation some people need. That's the motivation I need sometimes. And it's worked actually for me. Yeah, so that's get your if you have to record it, right? If you have to record somebody telling you can't do something, do that. Whatever it takes for you to just get pissed off and start this field. So the reason I say all this, right? Here's the reason why. These jobs that are coming about now, people are working from home right now, right? Who normally would be in office. Afterwards, the companies say, hey, you need to come back in the office. And people are like, no, I don't. I don't want to work in the office. I want to work from home. So what they do is they find a job elsewhere, right? So your job right now, like help desk, let's say, right? Help desk people, they work in IT somewhere working from home full time, right now because they can't go in the office. So when it comes to a point when these individuals who work from home now, the company's like, come on back in. You got to come back in. And they're like, no, I'm good. And they find jobs elsewhere. So what that means for you is you have an in basically, right? So you're now able to get a job more easily. Why? Why are you more easily get a job? Because those vacancies now are there. The people that want to work from home because they like doing it, if you start out in IT and you get a job for a company who has to be working in the office, basically, that's going to be your key. That's going to be your starting point, right? Because you just need a little skill. You just need, I got a couple of courses, by the way. Just take those courses, right, on Udemy and Teachable, and just get those soft skills, get those normal skills. If you don't have soft skills, customer service skills, just record yourself, talk and record yourself saying something and say, okay, well, I can say it better this way. Okay. It's understandable. It's not understandable. Maybe you have an accent. Maybe your concern is your accent or whatever. Anything you could do to work on that, right? A little bit. Maybe because it's an internal thing, right? Obviously, this is an internal thing. You work on yourself before working on others, right? And at any rate, so you go in and get that job. Bam, bam, bam. You got that job now, right? And now you started off, even if it's $9 an hour, even if it's the same money you're making now, you're making $9 at Walmart or McDonald's now, and you make $9 an hour working at help desk, but you're in the office. That's the stepping point. And after 3 months, boom, go work somewhere else as an IT person. But the $9 an hour help desk in a company, 3 months later, with those skills you have, get a better job. But keep learning. That's the whole key. So thanks everybody for listening to the podcast and have a great day.